Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday, whichever day that you were listening to us. I wish you guys all have a good weekend. Welcome to the Sports Rap Podcast Show. I'm Gilbert. That's Vinny and my dad, all with us today. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great today.
Good. That's good. You guys heard about the Marvel deal today? I'm a big comic book fan. Even you are too, Vinny, right?
Yeah.
They come to terms with Sony, and I'm very happy that, as Marvel fans and DC fans, comic book fans, whatever, they've come to terms with Spider-Man coming back to the MCU, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, it was bound to happen.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so first off, we're going to be talking about baseball. The recap from Green Bay and the Eagles game. Melvin Gordon coming back from his what's the word I'm looking for? Holdout. I was going to say lockout. And our predictions for the NFL for week 4, right? Week 4? This is week 4? Week 4.
Week 4.
Okay. So Vinny, in the postseason, these are the locked teams, right? These are locked in,
teams.
and it's confirmed.
Yeah.
These are all okay. So in the NL wild card, you got the Brewers going against the Nationals, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then the winner of that match would go against the number 1 seed in the NL conference.
In the National League, yeah.
Yeah, the Dodgers. Okay, and then you got the Cardinals going against the Braves.
Yes.
Okay, well, in the AL wild card, you got the Tampa Bay Rays going against the A's. Winner of that goes against the Houston Astros.
Yes.
Okay, and then we got in that same bracket, you have the Twins going against the Yankees.
Yeah.
Right? Okay,
Yep.
cool. All right, and obviously, I know that we just wanted to predict, but I predicted this probably a couple episodes ago. Remember how I was telling you, Pop, about could this be the year that the Dodgers get out of the hump and finally win the World Series? Can they do it this year?
Well, I mean, everything on paper says it's very, very possible. I mean, very hugely possible. I mean, they've been to the World Series back-to-back years. They've only gotten stronger. Their bullpen seems to be getting it together now. It's looking really good. And, it's just up to them now. The only problem that they have, and it's been an issue with me that I brought up like you said, a couple of episodes back, is their road record. Their road record is just an Achilles heel to them. They cannot win on the road. They just got to get it together, play a little harder on the road, get some of those road wins that are needed to advance.
And then, and I know that you seemed a little bit bitter because your Cleveland Indians, now, as we saw.
Yeah, they were officially eliminated tonight. Tampa Bay won. They lost yesterday, so they were officially eliminated. But, it was a good year. They just had a lot of injuries. I could use excuses like that. But, this team just, they're young. I'm not too disappointed because, they ended up with a great record. They were second in the American League Central, almost made it to the playoffs. They can only get better from here. They're like I said, they're young, and they just got to get the pitching staff. I think their starting pitching needs a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
Kluber, which is our ace, he's just very injury prone. So as long as I think if they just find a way to keep him healthy, we can look forward to a good year next season as well.
Yeah, the surprising team that caught me off guard was the Twins. Okay, just by their name, because I don't know much because I'm barely learning how to, with baseball and stuff. But to me, that team it just caught me off guard because just because of the team name and the way how they were in the past years, but that's what you...
Yeah, the Twins, I'll tell you something. The Twins were dominant in the 80s, early 90s. They had a lot of Hall of Famers, big names. They had a lot of great playoff matches. They were in the playoffs here and there, and for some reason they just disappeared. in the beginning of the millennium, in the beginning of the 2000s. They just vanished, and I think that had a lot to do with these other teams like the Royals. They went to the World Series back to back years, so and they're in the same division.
Yeah.
So a lot of these teams they got better, while because I'm assuming that because contracts of the guys that they had that brought them to the promised land, so to speak, were
Leaving.
expired.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
were
were
they were
leaving.
leaving.
So they had that and they literally had a rebuilding process. And I don't think anybody expected this from the Twins. I didn't.
I didn't either. But
I mean, starting from 2010, they only made the playoffs only once in that span, which was in 2017. I feel like a lot of it had to do because the AL Central used to be a very competitive division back then. Talking about the Royals that went back-to-back World Series. The Detroit Lions. I'm sorry. The Detroit Tigers. They had a very dominant team with Verlander, Scherzer, Prince Fielder, and Cabrera, all those guys. So I think it was just trying to fit in the AL, and I think they were just in the wrong division. They had some really great teams: Johan Santana, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer. They had some very good players, but I mean, just looking at the whole AL Central. Looking at that whole landscape on how it was in the mid 2000s and the early 2010s, it was just very bad for them just fitting into that division.
all right.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, Vin, was that the AL Central was dominant. I mean, the other teams, it wasn't that they had a bad team. He just named some good players with Mauer and Santana. But the thing was that the White Sox were good. The Indians were good and the Tigers were good. So they didn't really give a chance to the Twins, even though they had a solid team. They were just the other teams in the division were just better.
Right. I also noticed that a couple days ago I was talking to my boss the other day that the Nationals made it to the playoffs without Bryce Harper after signing with the Phillies. And so yeah, that kind of sucks, knowing that the team that you decided to leave and sign with the Phillies, they beat your team to make it to the playoffs without you. So I thought that was bittersweet for them, losing their star player and still making the wild card.
Well, I feel like for the most part, the Nats this season, I feel like they were a better team without Bryce Harper.
Right.
It didn't look like that at the start of the season. They had their woes, but they came together, guys coming in to form like Patrick Corbin, Anthony Rendon, who if you forgot about a few names in the NL, maybe he would have been making an MVP run. He has the second highest WAR of any player in the NL that's not named Yelich or Bellinger. He's having a very dominant year. And as far as the starting pitching goes for the Nats, they've always been good. Scherzer, Strasburg, you add Corbin in there, that's a three-headed monster, But the Phillies, I mean, they just spent a lot of money on a lot of big names, and they all just didn't turn out because of injury and underperformance, So it just sucks to see Bryce Harper. He leaves the team, and the Phillies, they sign a bunch of players, and they get nowhere. They're at the same place where they were at the start of last season.
Yeah, this just goes to show you that one player doesn't win championships for a team. But the Phillies weren't doing all that bad. I mean, they were up there. They were in the playoff race. They were for a long time, and is in just recent, not necessarily recent because the baseball season is 162 games, and I think the Phillies got too comfortable at like 130, where they just. Other teams came up. I mean, other teams just came up. The Braves played the lights out, and didn't give. And then Washington as well. Washington got it together, like he said. Like Vinny said, they had their woes earlier in the season, but they just got it together, and that was just a team that surpassed the Phillies. Harper didn't have a good year this season at all. Like he not compared to his other years in Washington. Not even close.
Because he signed that big contract, and I already know how you are with big contracts.
You already know how I am with contracts.
Yeah.
But even though, I mean, he was still their leading hitter in home runs, RBIs, on base percentage. he was definitely up there in all the categories. The only guy that was above him in on base percentage was Andrew McCutchen, and he missed most of the year due to a torn ACL. And this team, they spent so much money on free agents. You have JT Realmuto, Gene Segura, McCutchen, Harper. You spend this amount of money on players, and you get nowhere. You know,
McCutchen was with the Phillies. He signed with the
he
Phillies.
signed with the Phillies midway in the season. He tore his
Oh, midway, okay.
ACL. You also signed Jake Arrieta, who even though was struggling, he still found a pretty decent year. Not nowhere as he was with his Cy Young, but I mean Bryce Harper, he had an okay year. He had a pretty decent year. Okay, batting average is low. On base percentage is still high. Slugging it's highest on the team by a landslide. You lead the team in home runs and you lead the team in RBIs, like I had said previously, and you're second in walks. The only problem is that you didn't sign this guy for $330 million for pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sign that guy for that amount of money and you expect pretty good from him. But again, I mean, you see all these other guys, and you don't expect a pretty good team with all these names. Realmuto and all these guys were coming off from struggling teams. Realmuto came from the Marlins. Gene Segura came from the Mariners. Andrew McCutchen came from the Giants. So these teams were all relatively struggling, and they go to Philly. You know, have like this this mesh of superstars. And it just fell flat on its face. And I'm not surprised that this team just couldn't do anything with the names the names they had.
Right.
Maybe that has to do with the coaching. I mean, like the Cleveland Browns, too much talent.
Don't know what to do with it.
No execution.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what got Philly out.
Okay, so taking a look at the national side. Between the 4 teams, besides the Dodgers, between the Cardinals, the Braves, the Brewers, and the Nationals, which of those 4 teams has the best shot to at least give LA their run?
Oh, the Braves by far. The Braves by far. The Braves, out of all those teams, the Nationals, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Braves have one of the best hitting staffs in all of baseball. You know, you get guys with like Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr., and you add in, in my opinion, the best free agent signing, Josh Donaldson, in there. That already sounds like a dangerous team. That sounds like a very, very dangerous team who's gonna give a run for their money in the Dodgers. And so far this season, the Dodgers bullpen has been pretty shaky. You know, Jansen, some days he looks like an ace closer, and then some days he just looks god awful. You know, the bullpen has looked wildly inconsistent for the Dodgers. But I'm hoping that they've patched things up by signing guys like Kelly, you know, bringing in some of their youngsters like Dustin May, old players such as Rich Hill into the bullpen. So I'm hoping it's going to be a good series between them both if they meet up ever in the postseason.
Okay, so you're going with on your predictions on that side, are you going with the Dodgers and the Braves?
Yeah, in the NLCS. I'm going with the Dodgers and Braves.
How many games?
6.
6 games?
6 games.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah,
it's gonna be close.
I like all these games to get to the last game, because I know that in the the wild card is 1 game.
Yeah.
Then it's the best of 5, right? In the second.
Best of 5 in the second.
And then
the LCS it's 7, and the World Series is 7.
Okay. Yeah. Make them all last forever. Make them all last. And what about you, Pop?
Yeah, same.
Same.
I feel the Braves have the best chance to give the Dodgers a run for their money, like you say. But I think the Dodgers have put it together already, Vincent. Their pitching, their bullpen, actually, that's where they were struggling. Their bullpen. It wasn't necessarily their starting pitchers. Their starting pitching is phenomenal, but they were having problems closing out games, and they haven't had that problem in a while. And I think it has to do with putting Kenta Maeda in as a closer for Kenley Jansen, just to see how it would work out. They were resting Kenley because they're already in the playoffs, so they don't need to pitch him. They don't need to put him out there. But Kenta Maeda has come up pretty clutch for the bullpen. So I think they're gonna probably utilize him as like a setup man to get Kenley the save. But yeah, the Braves, they're the ones. They're the team to actually give the Dodgers a run. But I think the Dodgers are so good that I don't even think it's gonna be that much of a run. I mean, I agree they are gonna go. I think that's gonna be the NL Championship game, but I see it ending like in 5 games, maybe a sweep.
Okay. And then what about for the ALS? You got Houston and the Yankees.
Well, in the American League, I mean, I am just like I don't know. I mean, I'm this is just me. I mean, I'm loving Oakland. I love Oakland. And Cleveland is my team, yeah, but Oakland is that other guy, that little Joe, in baseball. And those guys are just a bunch of Joes, a bunch of just I don't know, they're not superstars. There's no superstars in the Oakland A's. They just play just team baseball. And that's who I would like to see. And unfortunately, I'm just a little bit I'm a little disappointed that they're in the wild card, because that's only a one game deal.
Yeah.
And if they lose to the Tampa
Rays.
Bay Rays, it's gonna be terrible, because they're a much better team than the Rays. They are. Things happen. That isn't my opinion. Things happen. Okay, a game could go wrong. Somebody could get hurt. An error could happen that's gonna cost Oakland the game. But they are just. I think they're the better team to come out of the wild card. They should come out of the wild card. I'll tell you something. Against Houston, they were a combined 8-10 in the regular season against Houston. Oakland, they started the season 2-8. In their last 8 meetings, they were 6-2. Okay, against New York, they played 6 games during the year. They're 4-2. So there is I mean, they've given these teams, these big teams, these teams that have won their conference, I mean their divisions respectively, they've given them good games. I mean, I didn't check what Tampa Bay was against them, but I think, man, I would love to see Oakland. I would love to see Houston too. I think Houston is my other team, my other pick. But I would love to see a replay of the 1988 World Series.
If A's win the World Series, Moneyball 2, book it.
I think it's a shame that we only get to see these two teams battle out only once. Because if this was a series to be played of 5, even to 7, even 5 games, it'd be, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining series in all of the postseason. Both these teams are so entertaining to watch, both the A's and the Rays. A's and Rays in the wild card, man. It's just both these teams. I've been writing on them the whole season. Okay, the A's, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Marcus Semien putting in work, serious work. He has one of the highest WARs among players in the AL with an 8, and you usually see that number in like Mike Trout years, typical Mike Trout years. But this A's team hitting wise is very good. They're very hot. But Tampa Bay, their pitching has been lights out all season. I don't think I've seen a stint at all in the season where the Rays pitching has struggled. Maybe early on when they lost Todd Glasnow, probably that. But other than that, the whole pitching's been lights out. Snell's been having an off year, but there has been guys that been making it up. Guys like Charlie Morton, Gaz. All these guys are great pitchers, and in my opinion, I think the Rays are the better team than the A's, because we've all seen in history pitching has beaten hitting. You can have the most hottest bats in baseball, but you put them against the best pitchers, you guys can't hit anything. It's been shown. Almost every single World Series team, they always have great pitchers. There's only been one time that I can remember where the hitting actually was better than their pitching, and I think that was when the White Sox won it in 05, 06. That was the last time I can remember. Other than that, every single team has had great pitchers. Think of the Red Sox last season. Look at how hot their pitchers were the season prior. Guys like Parcello, who had a pretty decent year. Price coming off a pretty decent year. Their bullpen was actually dangerous that season with Kimbrel coming off a spectacular year.
Yeah, but Kimbrel will just give me some heart attacks last year when they were going
But
against.
they didn't blow any saves.
I know, but there was a couple of times where he gave up like a hit, and then all you see was like Benintendi trying to save like the game-winning catch against the Astros, because I remember that gave me a heart attack. And every time when even especially in the World Series, when he would go up against the Dodgers to close out in the ninth, still same thing too.
The thing that I have with the A's is their bullpen is shaky. In my opinion, I think their bullpen is shaky. I feel like their bats are very good, but I feel like their bullpen is a little shaky compared to Tampa's. And I feel like for that reason, I think Tampa Bay is probably going to beat them in the wild card. Only because of that reason. Tampa Bay, as of late, their hitting has been very good. But I think we're going to get Twins and Astros in the ALCS. I see the Yankees losing.
You believe in the Twins beating the Yankees?
Yeah.
Yep. That would be pretty pretty sweet. Because
I mean, James Paxton went out today in the first inning. Okay. Their pitching, their starting pitching rotation is complete garbage. And the reason why they're in the playoffs is because they've been carried by their bats, by guys like DJ LeMahieu and Gary Sanchez. Okay? Giancarlo was struggling this season, but when he was on fire, he was on fire. Okay? Also Judge, when he was on fire, he was on fire. But then they got cold. So then it was just Sanchez, LeMahieu, and Torres carrying
so they were pretty much consistent over those two guys.
Actually four. I forgot about Gregorius.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Another thing is that the Twins' bats are the best in the MLB. The Twins, their hitting is one of the best in like the best overall. Guys like Max Kelper, Nelson Cruz coming in as DH. Cron. I'm sorry, not Cron. I forgot his name. Gosh darn it. But their bats are great. You know, they're a very talented team. Their pitching is also a little shaky. They did lose. What was that pitcher that lost the DH? I'm sorry, he got caught with the performance enhancing drugs from the Twins. Former Yankee. Do you remember? No, not Severino. From the Twins.
When was this?
It was like very recent. It was very, very recent.
Okay, so they lost a batter, right? Batter or pitcher?
A
pitcher. Okay.
I mean, the Twins, I think they're first in home runs. They're first in home runs.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's gonna be this series is gonna be like every single game at least like 6 runs or more by both teams.
So it's gonna go all the way to 5. Do you think this series is gonna go to 5?
Go all the way to 5, and I feel like the scoring is gonna be like ridiculous.
Like more points or like
more points?
More okay.
Like, we're talking like 8 to 6. 10 to 7. Something like, if you can put whatever pitching is better in that series, they're going to win. And I feel like it's going to be the Twins because the Yankees, their pitching is going to be on Happ and Severino. And you're only going to have 2 guys starting carrying rotation. That's not good enough.
Right.
So, what do you think, Dad?
Yeah. This whole thing about Tampa Bay being better than Oakland is not according to these numbers I'm about to give you. If Tampa Bay does make the wild card, who do they face? If they beat Oakland, they face Houston. Okay, they went 4-3. They played Houston 7 times and they went 4-3 during the regular season.
Series right there.
That's a series. If they go against the Yankees. Well, even if they go against Minnesota, let's say Minnesota just comes out and they want to take it. They went 1-3 against them. When I just said Oakland went 4-2, they were 6-2 together on Houston. Just to remind everybody, Against the Yankees, they were 7-11. So
You're
I
talking
mean,
about the Rays, right?
yes, I'm talking
Okay,
about the Rays. They were 7-11
Okay,
against the Rays. I mean, against the Yankees.
Yankees.
So I can assume from these numbers, I didn't even want to look at it anymore. I was gonna actually look at Boston just for kicks.
We got
But
our
you know
asses
what?
kicked.
Out of these numbers, I feel that Tampa Bay didn't beat anybody. They beat probably the White Sox maybe a couple times or the Tigers, but they didn't beat playoff caliber teams.
They beat Red Sox though.
Oakland
They
did.
didn't
I'm just saying.
really- All right, so World Series predictions. Here we go. Who do you guys got? World Series.
In the AL and NL, I actually have this is tough. So I have both Houston and the Twins in the AL. In the ALCS.
Okay. Okay, in the
I
finals,
have,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the series going 6, and I have it going to Houston.
Okay, so Houston goes.
Houston goes.
Okay, but
I had said Dodgers,
Dodgers.
and Braves. I said Dodgers in 7.
okay, so we're gonna see another round
We're
with
going to see the
Astros.
a rematch of the
2017?
2017
Yeah,
World
okay.
Series.
2017 World Series.
Okay.
I agree with that. It looks like it like that too. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings when that happened, and I was just happy that the Astros won, but I really couldn't, I was just like this, like this.
Yeah.
But I really couldn't go, yeah, because I was surrounded by Dodger fans. And
But just to remind everybody, I'm going back to 1988. I'm going Dodgers and Oakland.
what the hell?
Dodgers, Oakland.
Moneyball
I
2 if
think
it happens.
I think
Book
Oakland
it.
is strong enough to make it out of the American League.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. Last night it was the Green Bay Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles, where Philadelphia Eagles came back. Wait, actually, were they down? No, huh?
The Eagles? Yeah, they were down
Okay,
10-0.
10-0. By halftime?
No, the first quarter.
Okay, first quarter. Okay, so they made a comeback and they ended up winning 34-27. Carson Wentz had dad's type of numbers, 168 with 3 touchdowns. Passer rating with 130 something, 113 or something like that. And Aaron Rodgers he just did everything that he can. He just did everything that he could to keep his team close. Devontae Adams was out after third quarter. I'm gonna say the third quarter. It's the second.
I was actually in the fourth.
In the fourth.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he was. Oh, well, it seemed to me like he's been pretty in for a long time. With the toe turf injury.
Yeah,
right?
the turf toe happened in the fourth quarter. This was one of the games I was telling you, Junior, that if we could have did this show before,
I know.
we could have did it on Wednesday. I mean, I was imploring to you that I needed LaFleur to at least unleash Aaron Rodgers, please.
Yeah, which
on
he
the
did.
Which
He did.
What a miracle that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane that he did, and they lose.
I know.
I mean, the defensive backs of Philadelphia were struggling so bad, and also because there were injuries
Yes.
to their defensive backs. I was just praying that he would let Aaron Rodgers do his thing, let him be the quarterback that he is. And I mean, this guy was just unbelievable. 422 yards. He almost had 500 yards. I thought he was going to pass for 500 yards if it would have went overtime. I was wishing that would happen.
Yeah.
No, but again, they just could not get it done. It was a little bit of a mistake on Aaron Rodgers' part. Last play of the game, they ran it. Actually, the second to the last play of the game, they ran it with Aaron Jones. They were at the 5. I mean, at the 7. They got to the 3. Okay,
And then that's when
and
they
it was second and goal.
did a Pete Carroll.
Why didn't they freaking run it again? You know, the defense was obviously they were tiring out because Aaron Jones was gaining yards on them just here and there, you know, little here and little there. And man, I just wish they would have ran it again.
They did the same. It was the exact same play because I recognized it. They did the same slant route where Marcus Valdez-Scantling got the touchdown when they at least tried to keep it close. So, yes, I know when you're in the 3, run the ball. That's what I would do too. But to me, I think they just went for the same thing again.
It's just bad play calling by LaFleur.
Yeah.
I feel like LaFleur, this whole season, I've been just criticizing him.
Why 3-1?
This whole season. I know they're 3-1,
Right.
but splitting
Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones.
Williams and Aaron Jones. Even though we already know, all three
All
of us
of us
know.
know.
I think the whole football world knows that Aaron
Aaron
Jones
Jones.
is the far superior back than
Yeah.
Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the slow start that Aaron Rodgers put out, barely even reaching 200. I mean, I know he had a terrific game. You know, like
Yeah, but you're talking about his slow
422
start. You're talking about his slow start.
422 yards. Yeah, I mean, look how many times he tried to throw the ball in this game. 53 times. He needed 34 completions to get to 422. Okay, people have been criticizing that he's been off to a slow start, and I think it's because it's just been getting to him, that's been getting to LaFleur, that you have this Hall of Famer caliber, this like Pro Bowler, like greatest, like one of the best like quarterbacks right now, and the fact that you've been barely using him, it's been like kind of weird seeing how this team is, you know. Aaron Jones, he didn't have a great game. 13
Yeah, I
carries,
mean, that was
21 yards.
Yeah, that was pretty much expected, right, Pablo? Because of their Philadelphia's run defense was just
Yeah, we
tremendous.
were actually talking about the run defense. They're just lights out.
Yeah.
You know, you can't run against this defense, and there was absolutely nothing they could do. But you know what surprises me more is Philadelphia knowing that they were not going to be able to run the ball against them. How do you allow a quarterback to do 422 yards? Knowing that they're not going to be able to run the ball.
Right. Okay.
You,
I see
you know what
you're
I'm
getting.
saying?
Yeah.
The Philadelphia should have. I mean, Schwartz, the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you can't run the ball against us. Beat us in the air. Rodgers did 422 yards. I mean, it's just, you know, I just don't understand how they could have allowed that many yards. But it's Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
You know, it's Aaron Rodgers. He'll find you in a hole. He'll find you anywhere. You know.
Yeah, there was a scary hit yesterday. I mean, during that game too.
Yeah.
Oh well, the one that most stood out was
Williams one.
no, not that one.
Oh, not that one.
But I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happened, Junior. That happened in the first quarter. It was like it was actually like the second play of the game.
Right.
Or the third play of the game, and they exited Jamal Williams the same exact way they did with the
corner for Philly.
Maddox.
Maddox.
Yeah,
that was
exactly same way. It's the same. It was
same thing.
This guy, no, the way it happened with Jamal Williams, the defense, obviously, he was trying to run
Right.
Against a stack of like 5 guys.
Okay.
So all the guys, they held him, and they were holding him up.
Okay.
Whistle blows.
Dead play.
Somebody, yeah, and they're holding him up, and he's still moving his feet.
Mhm.
You know, trying to move his feet. The guy just cracks him. It was Barnett. Cracked him.
Oh man.
Just cracks him straight up. I mean, he was face forward like this, and they were pushing him, and Barnett just cracked him, and it got him out. And they exited exactly that same way. They put him
Mhm.
in a stretcher. They stabilized his head. They couldn't take off his helmet, obviously.
Yeah, so he had to
Can't do
remove
that.
the
They had to
bars.
remove the mask. They wheeled him out just like that, just like in the cart, and the same exact thing happened to Maddox.
Maddox. Yeah.
And to top it off, both dirty plays were done by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Sendejo just came right out and like out of nowhere.
Well, did you see how
For-
Taysom?
Yeah, when he was
Oh man, that
going
was
down.
smart.
Yeah.
That was
as soon
smart.
as soon I'm
As soon
pretty
as he
sure
caught the ball, he went down, and then that's when
Sendejo
Maddox
got
and
him.
Sendejo
Yeah.
hit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just pretty scary. For this game, do you guys think that the defense got exposed? I'm talking about the Packers defense.
team?
Like the defense I know both were terrible, but you know, during the last 3 weeks
I feel like yeah, the last 3 weeks the Packers defense
Was great.
Was great. But you know what? The thing that has caught my attention is that this team cannot stop the run. The Packers defense.
and we saw that with
And we
Minnesota
saw that-
too.
and
We
saw
saw
that
Minnesota.
against Minnesota, and we saw that in this game. Okay, 176 yards total for the Eagles. 2 touchdowns by Jordan Howard plus 87 yards. Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders. Jordan Howard averaged 5.8 yards a carry.
Yeah, tell me why I couldn't believe that, because I don't like Jordan Howard.
Miles Sanders had 6.5 yards an average. How do you allow that? How do you allow that at all? You know, and Carson Wentz, he wasn't even used at all in this game. He had like a
160.
160
160
yards.
with
he had
three
three
touchdowns.
touchdown passes. Okay,
When he needed to.
when he needed to,
Mhm.
you know, he had to go to the air. But my God, man, they could not stop Howard or Sanders. They couldn't stop anything.
Yeah, I mean, and during that whole game, what I was seeing with Carson Wentz, when he would give the ball to Alshon, he would just they would just have him locked down. Like Alshon really couldn't grab any of the footballs that was throwing him to his way, and so they just said basically we're just gonna go what works, and it was the run game.
Yeah, I think the Eagles coming into this game, I feel like they were way more prepared because their running game was not doing so well. Okay.
Yeah, the first 3 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eagles.
okay.
Their running game was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Their passing game was what kept them in a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we saw the game even though Jackson and Aguilar,
Got out.
Jackson and Jeffrey were out.
Mm-hmm.
Aguilar came in. He had a great game. Ertz, you still have Ertz, which is a very good option still, you know. But this team just completely just turned it around I think they turned it around on the Packers on their game plan. Their game plan was to stop Wentz. Clearly, they said, you know what, fine, you can stop Wentz, but you're
not going to be stopping the run game.
Running game is going to come out of nowhere.
Right, and it did.
I think they were. You're right, Vinny. But for the wrong reason. I think Philadelphia prepared for this game more. You're absolutely right. I think they were well prepared, but I think it was. I mean, needless to say, it was the 4th week of the season.
All right, but in
I don't
that
want to
division,
call this a must-win.
I know because
this was a
must
must-win
win
for them.
because
They did not want to end week 4 on 1-3 because Cowboys, as good as they're doing, and now that the Giants got Daniel Jones, they showed what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they need to stay on top of those teams.
Right.
You know, to fall to 1-3, they couldn't afford to. So I think for that reason, I think Philadelphia prepared a lot better than Green Bay did. But Green Bay wasn't bad. You know, yeah, their defense was bad. I mean, they just ran into a better offensive line. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe the O-line of the Eagles is just outstanding to where they couldn't even get near Wentz.
Yeah, they didn't even sack him.
Yeah, they did. They ended up getting close to him, but in the 4th quarter with like 40 seconds left, you know,
okay.
You know, it was
garbage time.
Yeah,
it's
garbage
time.
It was
to get him, guys.
Yeah, they were tired. You know, Carson Wentz was tired.
Yeah.
You know, O-line was tired. So that was the only time I saw them get close to him.
Yeah. All right, moving right along with Melvin Gordon news. He finally caved in, I guess, and is reporting to work. I think it was pretty much yesterday. I think we reported work yesterday. Keenan Allen posted something on Instagram about him returning to work, all hyped up and stuff. Anthony Lynn reportedly saying that Melvin Gordon this Sunday could see some reps.
No, he's not playing.
He's not playing.
He's not playing.
That's coming from his coach. You sure he ain't playing? Justin Jackson is gone. He's in he has a calf strain, injured it only today. So that leaves with 2 running backs with Austin Eckler and some guy named Troymaine Pope on the active roster. Saying that Anthony Lynn saying that Melvin Gordon could see some snaps, but I'm pretty sure he ain't gonna be seeing most, like, you know, the usual snaps that he's gonna get, like 20 to 25 touches or whatever. But yeah, so with Melvin Gordon coming back, with the situation is this meaning that the Chargers somehow, some way got a deal with Melvin Gordon, or is it just like Melvin just decided, you know what, I'm gonna play?
I think it's that. I think he just didn't want to do. I think going into the holdout, he
did say he didn't want to do what Bell did.
Yeah, he didn't want to do a Bell, which sit out a year
mm-hmm.
in your prime
and you're losing money.
Right. He didn't want to do that. And the man, he's only been in the league for like
4 years?
This is his fourth
year?
This is his fourth year. When Bell did it, he was already well established as one of the best backs in the league. You know?
Yeah, but to me, like, why couldn't he just take the deal that the Chargers made? I mean, it's not like he's been having, like, consistent 1,000 yards rushing like Zeke.
He's only broke 1,000 once.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, that why couldn't he just take the deal to be like the third highest? I mean, all this money that he's getting, that he wants, is because of the touchdowns that he gets.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Last season he was 6th in touchdowns with 10. And he only played 12 games that season.
Damn, 12 games, he got 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was almost a touchdown a game. It was a touchdown.
Pretty much, touchdown a game.
A touchdown a game. If I'm looking at the year that he had last season, he was 17th in yards, but again, he only played 12 games. The players below him was Alvin. He had more yards than Alvin Kamara, Peyton Barber, and Matt Breida. Going to attempts, he was 20th in attempts. So I mean, he was injured for I'm not gonna say most, but almost half the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
But he was still putting up a pretty good year, and he could have possibly been a top 5 rusher in yards if it wasn't for him getting hurt. But then again, I mean, look how outstanding Eckler has played.
Right? Yeah, I know.
I mean, he's almost as productive, and he costs way less than Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's the game plan for the Chargers. I feel like they're gonna have to stick to him, simply because they're paying him that much amount of money. They're not gonna pay this guy a set amount of money because, I mean, they're not gonna not play him, because he has his contract,
right?
But I feel like right now, the
Chargers
are struggling.
I know, and they
struggling.
because they lost to, I mean, they won the Colts, right? They won
beat
the Colts, and then they lost to the Lions, and then they just lost to Houston. Okay. And we all agree that the offense of the Chargers, it runs through the running backs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even history says it itself with LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect them to be 1-3, right? 1-2, 1-2 this early.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going against with teams that on paper, when you look at the paper,
you should be beating.
Yeah, and it's just like what's wrong? Like, what's going on? Guys you have it. It doesn't matter if you have Melvin Gordon or not.
It's the same offense.
Exactly.
You still have Keenan Allen. You still have Mike
Williams.
I know that you're missing Hunter Henry, but then again, Hunter Henry, he didn't play last season either.
Right.
Okay. You still have
Travis Benjamin.
But
even though they let Tyrell Williams walk.
You still have Eckler and Jackson, which proved last season that they are both capable backs to their own right. So I don't know what's going on. They have the same coaching staff. They have the same team as last season. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, probably injuries on the defense as well. I mean, Derwin James is out.
Yeah.
But still, they still had the deepest roster.
Yeah.
From both sides.
They have their team is they have one of the best depth charts as they have one of the best they're one of the best teams in depth.
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, Michael Bagley, Hunter Henry, Virgil Green ruled out for this Sunday. Travis Benjamin did not even practice on Friday and is doubtful for the Dolphins game. Am I going to see the Dolphins getting their first win against the Chargers? Because against the Chargers, they're the Chargers, and we saw when a winless Browns team got their first victory on Christmas. I think the year, I'm going to say 2016, 2017, when they were just very bad. And then do you possibly see Miami upsetting these Chargers with these guys? I mean, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Virgil Green, they're all offensive guys, but the kicker too, Michael Bagley, still out. Travis Benjamin is doubtful. So do you possibly see the Miami Dolphins beating the Chargers this week?
You know what? I mean, we've all agreed from last week that the Dolphins are just completely terrible.
Terrible.
Okay? And I was the one that said on the previous episode that if you were to give me all 32 teams and you were going to tell me which one's going to have the fewest wins or which one would go 0-16, I would gladly pick the Dolphins.
Okay.
Without a doubt. And I think that my statement's not going to change. I feel like
Okay, the Chargers will win this one.
Yeah,
because
the
they're
Chargers are gonna win
tanking.
this because of the terrible organization known as the Miami Dolphins.
All right. Pop, you got any?
Yeah,
Stuff right
the Dolphins are not going to win this week, dude.
But the Chargers are the Chargers.
Come
I'm
on.
just saying, like these
I mean, I
guys.
understand where
These
you're
guys
coming
are all
from, but
injured.
Chargers need to score 10 points, dude, to win the Miami Dolphins this week.
Okay.
I was actually looking at something real quick. According to Melvin Gordon, when they asked him what was the reason why he came back,
Okay.
basically he said it's their record.
Okay.
He's been watching. Obviously, he's been watching football very comfortably from his home the
Yeah.
past 3 weeks. Okay, so he said it's the record. They were 1-2. Right now, I look back at last year. Okay, 27-20, 13-10, 30-24. Those are the Chargers' 3 first games. This year, it's 31-20, 35-23, 38-28. So they're roughly around there. Same exact kind of like the same points they're scoring. The records were identical. They started 1-2 last year. They're again 1-2 this year. So why is everybody worried? Why is everybody? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And Melvin Gordon is telling me that because they started 1-2, he came back. They started 1-2 last year. I don't understand. I don't get it. They're pulling in the same kind of numbers as they did last year. Their yardage on each of the games. They're very identical.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what it is, except for that 13-10 loss last year. It was last year against the Bills, 13-10.
They lost to the Bills?
I mean this year. I'm sorry, this year, 13-10
To who?
to the Lions.
It was 13. Oh yeah, 13-10.
Yeah, it was 13-10. That's
Okay.
this year. I'm sorry. This is 2019. Yeah. So except for that game, they're very similar in everything, in all aspects of the game. I mean, I was just basically just running. I was just like eyeballing, and they just looked all identical.
But I mean, look at the teams that they lost to last season. They lost to the Chiefs at home. Okay.
With Mahomes.
Week 1 with Mahomes coming out. Okay, it was week 1. Then they beat the Bills. Okay, which of course
Yeah.
And then they lose to the Rams, who eventually went to the Super Bowl. Okay, look who they have lost to, or look who the teams that they've went against this year. You face the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody expected anything from Jacoby Brissett.
True.
If I'm being honest.
True.
Nobody expected the Colts to even take the game as close as it was. It went to overtime. The Chargers needed overtime to beat a backup quarterback.
True.
Okay.
What game was it?
The
First week.
First week of the season. And then they take on Detroit.
Detroit's
Okay.
Detroit.
And then they lose to Detroit. And not only that, they lost embarrassingly. 10-13. You only put up 10 points. This team was one of the best offensive teams last season. How do you only put up 10 against the Lions? And then the only opponent, of course, Houston, you lose a nail biter, 20-27.
Didn't they have the lead on that game?
And
they had the lead on that
on
game.
that game. You know, I don't think it's because I feel like records in the NFL, they tell a story more than any other sport. Okay, and the way that they've been playing, they haven't been playing the same way they were last season.
Right.
Which they lost in the first 3 games. They lost to really good opponents. They was losing to the Chiefs, losing to the Rams. Okay, but look who they lost to: the Lions and the Texans. Texans are good, but come on, the Lions.
Yeah, but
and
that
then-
O-line is still just,
and then
Texans O-line, you know.
but then you needed overtime to beat the Colts.
I know that frustrates you right now.
That really frustrates
Yeah,
me.
that actually surprised me on that game because
Me too.
I did tell you guys in the very beginning when about Andrew Luck's retirement that I think Jacoby Brissett would be okay, but I didn't expect overtime with the Chargers,
Yeah.
But yeah. He also says Melvin Gordon is also saying that he decided to return because he missed his teammates and the holdout had not achieved his objective of securing a new deal. That's what he said.
If a
Yeah.
in my opinion, if a holdout deal doesn't happen within the first 2 weeks,
Just come back.
Just come back.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen,
Why? Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, first 2 weeks of the season, because if it didn't happen training camp, it didn't happen
Preseason.
and if you're like, you know what, I'm gonna hold out regular season. Okay, if it doesn't work the first 2 seasons, just stop it. Just stop. You're not gonna get a deal.
Yeah. But we'll see how Sunday is.
Just a little quick side note, little history for you guys. I heard this morning. The biggest holdout, the worst ever holdout in history. You guys want to know who it was?
Melvin Gordon.
No.
Le'Veon.
No.
Wait, Julio Jones.
I said in NFL history.
Yes, Julio Jones.
No.
Martin Swayze.
What
I don't
the
know
hell
who's
is
that. I don't know.
It was.
Can I take a guess?
Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah.
It was?
Go.
Sh-
No,
oh.
no, no. Say it.
My guess. Let me see here.
Mark Bulger.
No, not Mark.
You're gonna get it.
Mark Sanchez.
No, it's not Mark Sanchez.
I'm trying to think
I'm
of.
talking about a holdout. I'm talking about a holdout that was like totally unsuccessful in all aspects.
Jamarcus Russell. I don't know.
He didn't hold out in training camp. Okay.
Go ahead, Vin.
Le'Veon?
No, I just said it, Vinny.
Le'Veon.
Dang.
Okay. It was in 1985.
Ah, shit. I wasn't even
See,
alive.
I told you, you guys weren't gonna get it. It was Al Harris and Todd Bell. These two guys were
Or beasts?
main dudes of the Chicago Bears defense. They were their safeties, and they both decided to hold out together. In 1985, Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Wait a minute. What? They were from where?
Chicago Bears.
They're from the Chicago Bears.
Al Harris and Todd Bell.
And they didn't play.
They held out
They held out.
because they told their team, "I want a new contract, like a holdout."
Right? And they didn't play, right?
No,
They ended up winning the Super Bowl.
the Bears ended
That's
up
good.
winning the Super Bowl,
That's good.
45 to
10.
10. Yes.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So it's time for our NFL pick'ems. Dad, tell everybody about how we did last week. This is the first time that we're hearing it right now as we're recording this right now.
So we had the games last week. We chose Chiefs, Ravens, Lions, Eagles, Texans, Chargers, Steelers, Niners, Rams, Browns. Now the only one that picked a game that was different, Vinny, I believe you picked the Lions
Yes, I did.
over the Eagles.
Yes, I did.
And
we got that shit wrong.
you also picked the Steelers over the Niners.
Yep.
Okay, so those two, let me get something to write with here, were wrong, except for the Lions. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions. So we all picked the Chiefs.
Okay, we all won that one, right?
Okay, we all picked the Chiefs. Me and you picked the Eagles, Junior.
Okay, we lost that one.
And we lost that one. Texans, Chargers, we all picked the Texans.
Okay, we got that one.
Steelers, Niners, me and you picked the Niners.
Okay, we got that
And
one.
he picked the Steelers. And the Rams, Browns, we all picked the Rams.
Okay, we did?
Yes,
Oh,
we
okay.
did. We all picked the Rams.
We all have the same record.
While you had picked
No, you got two
the
wrong.
Lions. Yeah, you had.
I got
No,
two
he
wrong.
got
I
one
got
wrong.
one wrong.
Oh, then we got two wrong.
We got
One
one wrong.
Oh,
Because the
okay, we're all
Niners one made
tied.
up for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're all tied right now
All
at
right.
4-1.
All right, just remember, guys, that this record is it's winner take all. Loser jumps in the pool in cold ass January. Okay,
Like at 5 in the
like
morning.
at 5 in the morning, 7 a.m. And yeah, yeah, it's gonna be cold as hell.
It's gonna be cold.
Okay, so now it's time for these previews, and we'll go down the list, and then we'll choose. We'll choose the 5. I choose one, you choose one, Vinny. Dad chooses one, and then we both choose randoms for the second one. Okay. All right. So the first game here, Tennessee and Atlanta. Yeah. Did Atlanta won or Atlanta
Atlanta
lost?
lost
Two
to the Colts.
to the Colts. To the Colts.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so they're back at the Mercedes-Benz. They're back at home, right? They went over there to Indy, right? Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay, did they win in Indy? Did they go to Indy last week?
They went to Indy last week.
Okay, so now they're back over there in Atlanta trying to beat this Tennessee team that it's, in my opinion, it's a terrible team that Dad thinks that they're going to make it to the wild card and stuff. Marcus Mariota about to win MVP because he's all over his jack. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants to see between Russell Wilson, who's my guy, and his guy is about to get benched by Ryan Tannehill.
I'm going to tell you something, Junior. I'm going to tell you something right now. And for everybody to hear, I'm giving him one more week.
Yes!
Okay?
I'm about to win this.
I'm giving him one more week. All right? And
thank God I don't have to wash your truck, bro.
even if for some reason he has a juggernaut year after the next week, it doesn't count. I'm giving up on him.
Okay, wait. So if this game, if he doesn't prove to you, okay, what if they win? But the only way that they win is that the running game was working.
Well, if they win, that's still in the plus. That's still a positive.
Yes, it is.
If it's a complete negative, meaning a loss, if they win and even if he throws like 2 passes, I'm still going to be okay with him.
Okay.
But if they lose, I'm done. I am done. Even if they lose and he throws like for 800 yards, I'm done.
Okay.
Because I think winning is what, obviously, they need to win desperately.
They do. And because Seattle's what, 2-1?
Yeah.
2-1 right now.
Just because Seattle's better while Russell Wilson's doing a lot better.
See? So this means after this week, no
Yes,
matter
you
what.
get your pizza,
I get my
brother.
pizza? Vinny, we get the pizza. Damn, I thought it was going to last the whole season, but it's already been 4 weeks.
I'm giving up. I'm giving up. I'm going for the Colts.
After you said you wish they were winless. What the hell?
You said that they were gonna do so
I picked the
bad.
Colts to win because the Colts are beating everybody.
Okay, so for this game, I got Atlanta. We're not choosing this one, right? We're not going this one. Okay, so I got Atlanta in this one. I think they bounced back after their loss against against a very good Colt team with Jacoby Brissett because he ended up getting. It was funny, Vinny, because you said he's never had how many yards? 200, right?
Had 200 in a game.
He never
and
had
he comes
200
out and he gets like 300.
300 in this
yards.
game.
Completely just torched their secondary, man.
That is just crazy. Okay, so I got Atlanta in this one. Who do you guys got?
I also have Atlanta.
Okay.
For their most part, I know they're 1-2, but I still feel like they have one of the strongest offensive units.
Yeah, I agree.
In the league.
I agree.
A lot of that has to do with their team coming in late in the game, and just I think it's just scoring garbage points.
Points.
Last week against Minnesota, it proved that because they were down at 28-0 at the half, and I didn't even want to watch the game. And they scored 2 more touchdowns, and that was it. I think in this game they went down early. I think it was 24 to 10, coming into the third quarter, and they were still. Atlanta was. I'm sorry, the Colts were still scoring points, but they were left scoreless. I think in the third. So the Falcons were catching up.
Yeah, because I think after the half, T.Y. Hilton didn't return because he just scored a touchdown and then right away he just went to the sideline and just went back to the locker room because he had to check his quad because it was tightening up.
Yeah. I think the Falcons team. The funny thing about them is that their defense has just fell off a very sharp cliff. The names that were there when they were in the Super Bowl, guys like Beasley, Neal, which he's not going to play. A lot of their guys have just been underperforming for the past 3 years since the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy to me how this team has just fallen off a very sharp cliff through the years. I mean, they're still a playoff team. They're still a playoff contending team. But I don't think they're nowhere to be for the Super Bowl, as far as that, But I still feel like they can win this game. I mean, it's going to be in Atlanta. Okay? They're 1-0 thus far in Atlanta, and they're 0-2 on the road. So so I think it's going to be Atlanta winning this game. But Tennessee, their passing as far as Mariota, it's still a little shaky, but I don't think Mariota's going to get benched. I don't think so. I feel like Tannehill is just as good as Mariota, and Mariota is just as good as Tannehill, at least in my opinion. Both both relatively have like almost identical
Equal numbers.
numbers, and both are injury prone. So the Titans need to get a quarterback who can at least stay, who's kind of like an Iron
Consistent.
Man.
Yeah, like a little bit consistent.
Yeah.
Healthy wise and playing wise too.
Yeah.
All right, who do you got, Pop?
This game is closer than you guys think on paper. I mean, the points. Tennessee averages more points than Atlanta this year, and they give up less points. Surprisingly to me, I mean, Atlanta's averaging 20 points a game. Tennessee's averaging 22. They're only giving up 17 when Atlanta's giving up 25. They're very, very close. I got to ride or die Tennessee this week, because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm doing it because of our little thing. I can't go back on that, but I have a feeling that I might be right on this one. I'm looking at everything I need to look at, and I don't know. I think Atlanta's gonna fold, Vinny. I'm sorry to say. I think they are. They're defensively. They're not healthy. They're not healthy defensively. So I'm hoping that I think it's going to be a good matchup for Derrick Henry. But Atlanta's got to figure out the only way it's going to be bad on Henry or Tennessee's running game, which is the more dominant part of their offense, is Atlanta has to get out to a big lead. If they get up to a big lead, it's going to eliminate the running game. So, I mean, I'm going with Tennessee on this one.
Okay. All right, moving on. This is a game that me and you, Pop, have been looking forward to since probably like for the first two games that we probably saw with Buffalo. New England goes to Buffalo at Buffalo. Both 3-0 teams. Josh Allen has been great.
He's been really good.
Really good, and they're now they're more pass heavy. That's what I've been noticing. And it was funny because this morning Anthony told me the Bills are 3-0. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, who do they got? I'm like, dude, Cole Beasley, John Brown. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah, who's the running backs? The ageless Frank Gore and Devin Singletary. And who's on defense? Tre'Davious White, Tremaine Edmonds, all those elite defense. Come on. You can't disrespect Buffalo like that. And we both know, like, whenever these two teams face, we've seen it.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary, bro. I mean, as good as the Patriots have been, even in the past years, I'm still scared to play Buffalo.
And it was because we saw it last Monday, too.
Oh, my God.
Last year on Monday Night Football, how we were like, man, like, Brady's struggling. They can't do anything. With them.
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't do anything. And this season, it's not really the only difference that I see, because their yardage, I mean, in total yards, they average over 400. We average over 400.
Yeah.
I mean, they're right there with us. Points allowed. Of course, we have the number one defense, 5.7 points. They've only allowed 15.7 points.
That's pretty much normal
defense.
Right there. Yeah,
that's actually a normal good.
Yeah, that's what, like number one kind of status. Even though besides that impossible defense, Madden defense right there.
I mean, obviously, I'm taking the Patriots. I mean, I think it's gonna be a lot closer than the spread. The spread is 7. The spread is by a touchdown. I think they're gonna win by 3, maybe. But I do agree with you, Junior. I think it's gonna be the Patriots, but a lot less than 7.
Yeah. What do you got, Vinny?
I think this game has going one of two ways. Either a reality check for Buffalo, or it's going to be a very, very tight football game.
Mm-hmm. Which I am hoping for, because it's been a while since, since we have somebody in the division.
The last time you guys had someone in your division was when Chad Pennington was a quarterback.
Plus Mark Sanchez for his sophomore rookie year.
Yeah.
Those 2 years too.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Since butt fumble. That was the last time you guys had a division opponent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Butt fumble. And Rex Ryan. So it's been a while. I feel like this game is going to be a very tight one. Both these teams, they've faced almost identical opponents. Both have faced the Jets. I'm sorry. Both have faced the Jets. Both actually, as far as opponents go, I mean, Bills have faced the Giants and the Bengals, and the Patriots have faced the Steelers and Miami.
Miami. And what was the other one?
And
The Jets.
Both
Okay.
have faced the Jets. Both these teams are they're not really identical as far as scoring wise, because I mean look how much points that the Patriots have put up these past 3 weeks. You know, a lot of points. You know, 103 points in the first 3. Jeez, that's like what teams do like halfway through a season. That's 35.
I'm having a feeling that Bill Belichick is going to be doing the same thing that happened last year, play man-to-man when Allen's on the field. I think they're going to do a lot of blitzing. I think they're all going to play man-to-man, just like last year.
They're gonna. I think they're gonna have to sit back with their linebackers, play like a spy on Allen, make sure he doesn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I think it's gonna be a close game. You said the spread is 7, right?
Yeah. And we picked 3 with 3.
You see 3? I think I see 3 as well. If this game, it has going 1 or 2. I mean, I still have New England. You know, I feel like New England is still the far superior team. But again, it's either going to go 1 or 2 ways. It's a reality check for the Bills and a huge slap in the face, possibly a blowout, or it's going to be a very tight game. I don't see this going either way.
Right.
But I do have New England. I do have New England beating this team.
And in 12 quarters of football, New England has not allowed an offensive touchdown. That's insane.
Damn.
In 12 quarters. It's been 12 quarters of football. No offensive touchdowns. No offensive touchdowns. Special teams and a defensive. No offensive touchdowns. New England allows 37 yards a game rushing on the ground. 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's
in average. 37 yards.
Okay.
Buffalo rushes for 151 yards a game.
So
They might lead the league. They might lead the league in that. And that number sounds. I'm gonna check it out. That.
But it
that
doesn't.
number
It
sounds
doesn't
like a
feel
league
like
leader.
when I'm watching, because we have the ticket thing, and when I'm watching it, it doesn't feel.
It's Allen. It's
Oh,
Allen.
okay,
His
okay.
feet, man. You have to understand that they accumulate all the rushing.
Yeah.
And they rush for over 150 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's on an average. And they too allow only 87 yards rushing a game.
Mm-hmm. That's normal right there too.
Quick,
Not 37.
Quick note: the Bills have 3 players that are already over 100 yards. Those 3 players are Frank Gore, Josh Allen, and Devin Singletary. So
Devin Singletary passes 100 yards already?
Yeah, he did. 127. Gore has 164, and
Mhm.
Josh Allen has 105. Gore and Allen both have 2 touchdowns, and Singletary has 1. So 454 yards on the ground total for the Bills. You also have to count Isaiah McKenzie, and Yeldon's numbers. They have one of the best. The way they use the running game, I feel like because they use Gore and Singletary,
Mm-hmm.
and they also have Allen who can move his feet, and it's crazy how this team pretty much was just written off as like a clone of the Ravens. I heard some talk of that too, because Allen and Jackson both had relatively similar years. They both use they're similar quarterbacks, but Allen is the bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
But rushing against one of the best rushing teams and one of the best rushing defenses, this is going to be a good game.
It's probably the best versus the best.
It is. I think it is the best versus the best. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to watch.
I can't wait for Sunday. Kansas City and Detroit. This is Patrick Mahomes' first indoor game. His last indoor game was in college.
What game was that? Was that a bowl game?
I don't know if it was a bowl game, but
think it was a bowl game.
on that stat, he had. I just read the stat. Like it was like in that indoor game that he had, his last indoor game, he put up 6 touchdowns and over 500 yards in that bowl game. Passer rating was about 113. But I hope he really does that against Detroit, because I have him on fantasy.
Yeah,
and I'm facing you, Pop.
This
So-
is actually the first time that the Chiefs and the Lions faced in a while. The last time they met was in 2015.
When Alex Smith was there and Dwayne Bowe.
November 1st, 2015. This is when Alex Smith was there, and I think their best running back was
Jamal
probably
Charles?
Jamal Charles during that time. that game ended with the Chiefs winning 45-10.
Oh my
So
goodness. Okay. So for this one, sometimes if I'm just looking at this matchup. What Detroit has done defensively, kind of like put me and Dad in shock because we thought the Eagles were going to win, and we thought the Chargers were going to win to beat Detroit. And I know that Kansas City has a high-powered offense, but I'm still gonna pick Kansas City in this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. The difference between the Chargers and the Eagles and the
Chiefs.
No, I'm sorry. The difference between the Chargers and the Eagles, they don't have Patrick Mahomes. And Mahomes has been one of the strongest quarterbacks, at least for the past 2 seasons. He had one of the best seasons put together last year, and
he's on a pace to beat it.
This year, he's on pace to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, and keep in mind, he's leading the league in touchdowns without his number 1 receiver.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
It's like if he doesn't
yards,
yes.
even yards too. His it's 1,200 yards. He's close. It's 1195, but I'm gonna round that up to 1,200 yards. And the next guy is Andy Dalton at 940 something.
That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous how dominant he is. And I feel like it's gonna be another game, another dominant performance by Mahomes
in one quarter.
And he's probably gonna need 1 quarter.
Yeah.
But I can't write off the Lions simply because they're putting up a pretty good year.
Yeah.
2-0-1. I mean, the record kind of sounds a little funny. I think personally, they're a 2-1 team. I felt like that game against Arizona, they played poorly in the second half. So in my eyes, they're 2-1. In my eyes, they're 2-1. Okay. But the 2 games that they had, shutting down one of the best offenses as far as depth goes in the Chargers, shutting down one of the best passing teams in the Eagles, like a pretty good offense in the Eagles, you know. They've had pretty good success on the offense. Kenny Galladay, Hawkinson coming out of nowhere. Even Amendola coming out of nowhere had a pretty good game.
Yeah, Patricia said it was going to be Stafford's security blanket for the very beginning of the season.
Yeah, but then again, the Chiefs are just too good. So I got the Chiefs on this one.
All right, what about you, Pop?
Yeah, it's going to be a high-scoring game, this one. I mean,
Damn, you think so?
I really think so.
Yeah?
That's if Stanford does what he's been doing. It's going to be a catch. He's going to play catch-up, though.
Okay.
I mean, I understand.
Okay,
yeah, KC's going to Mahomes has done it seems like the guy could play in a freaking swamp if they let him and put up 5-6 touchdowns. It's ridiculous. He's just so good for the game. Just a little note, Detroit is the first NFL team with 4 players to have 100 yards receiving and a touchdown in a game through week 3. They are the only NFL team with 4 players to have 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. It's Amendola, Hawkinson, Galladay. Amendola and Hawkinson did it, both of them, in week 1. And then week 2 was Galladay, and then week 3 was Marvin Jones. That streak is going to continue. Somebody's going to get 100 yards and a touchdown in this game for Detroit. So that streak is going to continue. But I like KC, of course. But it's going to be a very high-scoring game, maybe even closer than the spread says. The spread says 7.
Okay.
But
all right, next one. Oakland and Indianapolis. Damn, these matchups are just so terrible for this week. Oakland and Indianapolis. I mean, who you guys got in this one?
I got Indianapolis. It convinced me the prior 2 weeks, as far as the Colts go, with Jacoby Brissett, he didn't really convince me as a full-time starter. I know that he played very well against the Chargers, but again,
just one game.
Just one game.
Yeah.
The next game, he didn't play as well, but Mac put up a very good game in week 2. But the third game against Atlanta,
it had to be your team, dude.
It had to be my team. At some point, I just didn't want to watch it because holy crap, Indiana was just dominating. Brissett was dominating, and it convinced me that this guy can possibly be a very good starter for the team. So in that case, I think Indianapolis is gonna take this one, and I think I think they got this one. I think they can win this one.
Win this one. I believe so too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Derek Carr and Darren Waller. That combo right there. Darren Waller's been consistent in that offensive and defensive game. They just got to get Josh Jacobs rolling. They got to get him more involved. After week 1, I think he just pretty much disappeared.
Yeah.
After that, but they got to get him rolling in this game. But I do have Indianapolis in this one. What's the point spread on that one, Pop?
We got a point spread of
10.
No. 6.5.
Oh, 6.5 in favor of Indy. Okay. Yeah, it'd probably be that. Probably touchdown. I have Indy.
I'm actually going Raiders on this one. Not because I said that in that Colts should lose every game. I was actually going to go with the Colts because they're beating everybody. They're surprising everybody. But Hilton might not play, and it's actually pretty close to him not playing. I mean, yeah, I do like Campbell. Campbell's really good. He's been a really good replacement when Hilton went out last week. But they lost Darius Leonard, their linebacker. He's out. He's definitely out. Tyquan Lewis is also out. It's another end, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for Josh Jacobs to see some heavy work, because if their front seven are thrashed like that, and then you got a couple of guys questionable in their secondary, but I think the Raiders are gonna have to play tempo football to beat these guys, because they're capable of doing it. Jacobs has shown in these 3 games that he was worth the pick that they made him in. So I feel the Raiders they won't cover the 6. I think the Raiders will win, but it'll be like by 3.
Okay. Let's make this one one of the games.
One of the games.
Yeah, because the next ones are pretty bad. I don't know if you this is pretty bad.
Pretty good one.
Yeah.
This game is actually, I think, is going to be surprisingly really good.
Next one.
Okay. Next one, we already talked about this. The
Chargers.
Chargers. Okay,
The spread on this one is ridiculous. I'm surprised it's not more. It's 14.5.
Damn, they don't believe in that Chargers then,
It's
huh?
like, what? It's
Okay. So we all got the Chargers in that one, right, Pop?
I think we all got the Chargers.
Okay, the next one's Giants and the Redskins. I'm just gonna pick the Giants in this one. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes.
Yep. I'm going
so
for
good.
Jones.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going for Jones too.
Colt McCoy comes back.
Huh?
Colt McCoy, the quarterback of Washington.
What about him?
He comes back.
He ain't the starter.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's a starter.
What the fuck?
Colt McCoy has always been the starter for Washington. Not Case
No.
Keenum.
Yeah, it was Case Keenum from the beginning.
No.
Yes.
It was Alex Smith.
And Colt McCoy took over with him after he broke his leg.
Yeah, I know. And then
And
Case
he was
Keenum.
starting.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah,
and
then Case
Sanchez
Keenum.
came in.
No, Colt McCoy broke his leg.
Then Mark
In
Sanchez.
the offseason, they signed Case Keenum.
Oh.
to back up McCoy.
Okay, I didn't know that shit. Oh, come McCoy's ass too, so it don't matter.
Okay, no. Gruden can't wait for McCoy to come back,
Oh.
because according to Gruden, he knows the offense way better than anybody else.
All right, well, then take Washington.
Hell no.
Okay then.
First game back from a broken leg.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean, it's just a four-headed monster they have at quarterback. They have Keenum, Smith, McCoy, and then Haskins. Haskins your first rounder.
I know he's not playing. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Okay, so we all got New York.
Yeah, I've got New York.
Okay, the next game, let's put this one down. I want this one down. Okay. It's Cleveland and Baltimore. This is a must-win game for Cleveland, because after this, if they're 1-3, I'm not gonna believe in land. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland, believe in land. Baker is just terrible. Who the hell who calls a play on 4th and 9 on a draw play against the Rams with 9 minutes to go? A draw play. Come on. When it's 4th and 9 minutes to go, and you got to get something going, you better call a pass play, not a draw play. What the hell? But Cleveland just looks bad, like really bad. With all this talent, the offensive line can't get their stuff together. They lead the league in penalties, right? I think they lead the league in penalties.
Yeah.
In penalties, like 30 something, 20
I
something.
think it was the first game that just killed it because
Yeah,
the
it had a
first
lot
game
of
they had-
penalties.
they
Dude,
had
I was
20.
I was watching that game, and I'm like, oh my god, penalties here. Every possession that they were getting, every down that they were getting, it was just penalties back and forth.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer, bro. I mean, these numbers are just ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Baltimore's averaging over 500 yards a game. I mean, they're averaging 37 points a game. I mean, they got to be one of the top offenses in the NFL, obviously. No-brainer. Even if this is a must-win for Cleveland, it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
They picked the wrong time to
I know to a wrong record to go with them.
For it be a must win.
Yeah.
They picked a bad team to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be Baltimore all the way.
Yeah, I've got Baltimore too. The run offense for the Ravens has been predictably good. It's been predictably good in my opinion. I think coming through the gates, they were going to be one of the stronger teams as far as running. They're first in yards per game rushing, and they're second yards per carry. And for a running back that I kind of said that Mark Ingram, I don't think he's the right guy. I thought at first Gus Edwards was. He came in.
I didn't believe in Ingram either.
I thought it was going to be Edwards.
Yeah.
You know, because the way he played.
The last few weeks last year.
Few weeks, he was like averaging almost like 7 yards a carry.
Okay, now can me and you, Vincent, please pray that Junior just sticks with his gut and guns and just goes for the Browns so we could beat them this week?
I'm picking the Ravens this week. I'm picking the Ravens.
I'm picking the Ravens too. Psych, YOLO. I'm going with Browns.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm going with the Browns. So put me in with the Browns, Pop. I think they have to win this one. They know they have to win this one because their schedule from here on out, it gets tough. Yeah. And there's no way that they ain't gonna be making it if they needed some
Junior,
damn wins.
it gets tough, yes, but really the must win against
this
the Ravens?
one. And it's barely week 4.
Wow.
All right. Next one we got Carolina, aka Kyle Allen versus Houston, and the way how Kyle Allen played last week, I was gonna say last week. Very consistent. The way how he ended off last year. The way how he handled those two games last year. Last year when he was playing them. Yeah, like consistent numbers and still, even though one game last week, still putting up the same numbers. Deshaun Watson, they shut down Did they shut down DeAndre Hopkins last week against okay.
Yeah.
And their corner for Carolina is the same corner that shut down Chorro Boy.
Yep.
So
Mike Evans.
But I got Houston. I'm going to pick Houston on this one.
Carolina for the most part, I knew that they were going to beat Arizona, but I also felt that Arizona is probably one of the strongest winless teams, and I also felt like it could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
To me, since they have that tie, I have to say that they're 1-2. You know, that tie, I think it felt like a win. They had to come back in that game, and they almost had it with a few plays, but it just didn't fall in their favor. But the Panthers shocked me on how well
the ball was moving.
Yeah, the ball was moving.
Mm-hmm.
It was moving great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were just going down the field like it was nothing. It was like so effortlessly. But I think this game's gonna come down to who has the better running game.
Okay.
You know, Allen played spectacularly, getting those 3 touchdown passes. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
3 touchdown passes. But again, I think this game's going to come down who has the better running game. And in my opinion, the better running game is Carolina. So I'm going to stick with Carolina in this game.
Wow. Good point, Vinny, on Arizona. I love Arizona. I'm loving Kyler Murray and just Christian Kirk and David Johnson, how they're all just meshing together right now. with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Ageless wonder, Larry Fitzgerald as well.
Well, Fitzgerald's on his way out, so I'm just
Yeah.
saying the way these three young guys
Mhm.
are meshing together, and you're so right. They are the strongest winless team in the NFL. It's too bad. It's too bad too because I feel like they're gonna get it together in probably week 8, week 9. By that time, it's gonna be too late.
Right.
But
But I think they all know. They all know that they're not. They're
yeah,
not
they
built,
weren't playing for a Super Bowl
playoff
this year.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, but look out for them next year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be really good. Junior, I got to go with you. I got to go with Houston. 5 guys in the Carolina defense are hurt, and they're questionable. But 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 guys on the defense of Carolina are questionable. That's too many dudes.
Is the Blueberry guy still there?
No. He's good.
Oh.
It's Bradbury.
Yeah, Bradbury.
No,
that guy.
he's a shutdown corner.
Yeah, so he's probably
Mhm.
might shut down DeAndre. I hope
I
he
don't think
does.
so. DeAndre got shut down last week. Last week, who the hell did they play?
The Chargers.
Yeah, he got shut down last week.
Mhm.
DeAndre Hopkins. He ain't gonna go back to back.
Oh.
He's gonna be hungry this week. I'm taking Houston.
Okay. Should we put that one, Vinny, as one of the teams?
Yeah. I'll
Put
put
that
it
one
down.
down?
I'll put
Okay.
it down.
How many we got?
That's 3.
Okay, so we got what?
2 more.
No. But what was the other 2?
Oh, I'm sorry. Colts Raiders. Me and you and Vinny got Colts. I
Uh-huh.
have Raiders.
Okay.
Browns Ravens. Me and Vinny have Ravens. You got Browns.
Okay.
And
Pretty
this
cool.
one, Houston Texans and Panthers.
Yeah.
And me and you got Texans, and he has Panthers.
Okay. The next one is the next game, the Rams against Tampa Bay. The Rams offense, I don't know how the hell they're 3-0. They don't look like a 3-0 team. They just have to. They're in this one. They have to mesh everything. Like they got to get it going, because if this continues out, you're not winning no playoffs, dude.
You're saying that like if it's easy.
I
Have
know,
you seen
that's-
the Buccaneers defense recently.
No, I know, I understand that,
They've
but
been
this
so
is
good.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that if they still play the way how they played, okay, from the first, who was their first week 1 opponent? The Panthers, right? Panthers, the Rams.
I believe so.
Okay,
I believe
so-
it was.
The Rams,
I'm sorry. No, you're right. Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
what was the
Carolina.
second one?
Saints.
And the third one, the Browns.
Cleveland.
Okay, so the Saints, it's the Saints defense, the Cleveland defense, and the Panthers defense. And they ended up winning the games with just their defense carried. We saw the defense got carried by the Rams against the Saints. We saw that one.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that, Junior. That me and you, we do not. We think they're just so.
They're not meshing. They're,
Disoriented. Yeah, they're
it's
just-
weird.
It's weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Yeah. So, but for this
but you
one,
know what? They're getting W's. They're just like the Packers.
that's true.
You know, they're just like the Packers. As long as they win, they don't care.
I
but-
care for fantasy perspective.
Exactly. And that's exactly what you told me when I was talking to you about this. You said they don't care about fantasy, Pop. You know, they just care about winning,
Yeah.
and that's what they've been doing. And you know, I just feel like you're right. I feel like you're right. They got to get it together. They got to be the Rams that they were a couple years ago.
Yes.
You know, get some Gurley in there. You know,
Yes.
get some Woods in there.
Yes.
You know, mix it around.
Mhm.
I believe that Goff is starting to be one-dimensional to one receiver, and he
Yeah.
has a lot of talent around him.
Mhm.
You know, he's got to use it. I'm assuming you're taking the Rams
Yes, I am in this
in
one.
this one. I am too. As much as I really am glad that Mike Evans is back.
Yes.
You know, and I really do like the Tampa Bay defense. They are just, man.
Improved. They have no all-star. I
Yeah,
guess
no
no
superstar.
Pro Bowl, no nothing.
Pro Bowler, and they're just playing very good defense. They are, and but I mean that 9.5 spread. Wow. I mean, yeah, 10 points. Yeah, I would have taken that. I'm going with the Rams. Keep in mind though that before I give it to you, Vinny, keep in mind Tampa Bay is better than the Rams in all offensive categories except rushing.
Damn. All right, Vinny, who you got?
All right. Well, I easily have the Rams. I don't know what stat you've been reading that the Bucks defense has been great. Out of the last three games, San Francisco and the Giants both put up 30+ points.
I'm talking like sack wise,
turnover wise.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. In that part,
yeah,
they've been
not
playing
the
well.
points, yeah, they've been just outscored, but
Well, I mean, uh, it's just amazing to me that, I mean, I feel like that number is inflated because they played the Panthers. Okay, that, I mean, look at the field on that game. Look at the game. Look how the game, the conditions it was played in, a rainy, musty Florida night. That was that was probably not the best way to play a football game. But other than that, I mean, they haven't sacked. They've been I think they're like top 5 in sacks, and they're top 10 in turnovers. The Bucks. But I feel like the Rams are really good. And I feel like, again, the reason why they outdo them in every category because of Jameis Winston. He's always top 5 in the league as far as yards. As far as yards go. If you were to put, even last season, if you were to put Fitzpatrick and Jameis Winston numbers together in yards, they would lead the league. So whoever's their quarterback, they always lead the league in yards.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
much
the
true.
thing
Happened
is-
last year too.
The thing is, Jameis Winston cannot stop turning over the ball. And this has been a problem since he's been a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, every single year he will actually end up with as much interceptions than he does touchdowns. So far this season, he has 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And I feel like that problem's going to continue to plague him in this game. And I feel like it's going to cost them. And I think that the Rams got this one as well. I think the Rams are going to take this one easily.
Okay.
yeah. As far as turnovers go, they have four turnovers in 3 games. They average that's 1 turnover a game, a little over. They're all fumble recoveries. They're all fumbles and fumble recoveries from other teams. No picks, no interceptions.
And they're still top 10 in the
Just
league as far as
fumble
turnovers.
recoveries.
Shit. Okay, so we're gonna just pretty much we're already passing our mark here, so we're just gonna rapid fire this thing. So we already have 3 games in place, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do 2 more. We'll do Seattle and Arizona. What do you guys got?
I have Seattle.
Seattle.
Seattle. Even though, as you said earlier, Arizona, one of the stronger teams, I still have Seattle.
Okay. What about you, Pop?
Yeah.
Seattle.
Seahawks.
I'm gonna go with Arizona on this one.
Oh.
Let me get Arizona in this one. I think they take their first dub. Because you got me with they're all meshing together and stuff. Even though Russell Wilson is my guy, but I think Arizona will get their first dub of the year. Okay, the next one. How about New Orleans and Dallas?
Yes, let's do that one.
Okay, let's do that one. I got New Orleans in this one.
Okay, now keep in mind they don't know no Drew Brees.
Yes, I know that, but they're at home. They're at New Orleans in this one, so I'm gonna get New Orleans in this one.
No, I'm gonna go with Dallas. The New Orleans Saints ranks 4th in
Yards per game.
in yards per game, giving up
Right,
to a quarterback. I'm gonna have to give it to Dak. Dak's been hot, so I'm gonna go with Cowboys.
Okay, what do you got, Vin?
You know what? Last game, they looked amazing against Seattle. But it's going to be at home, which is a big advantage for the Saints. They have one of the loudest home stadiums in the league.
And we saw that at the playoffs with Jared Goff.
But I feel like the Cowboys are going to have their first loss of the season this game. I feel like the Saints, they're riding high without Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're going to do what they have to do to secure a playoff spot, and I think this game's going to be key for them if they're going
To get to that point, yeah.
Get to that point. So yeah, I got the Saints.
All right, Bob. There we go. We got the Saints. You got the Cowboys.
You have the Saints, Vinny?
Yeah.
All right, guys, and that will be it for today. You guys can find us on Instagram with me and Vinny, Supersonics20, right, Vin?
Yeah.
Guido12 for me for both Twitter and Instagram. Follow our Instagram page at Sports Rep with Gil and Vin on Instagram for all the news and whatever that we're posting out there and all about that stuff. All right, guys. And Dad, where can they find you?
They can't.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say you can check me outside and smoking a stogie. All right, later, guys. See you guys next week.
Good night, everybody.